All right. Hi, everybody. I'm Kobazco. This is Kano Bridge of Spirits, as said. I'm going to get into it as soon as possible. Would you like to introduce yourself real quick?
Hi, I'm Helix. I don't play this game. I'm just here.
No, I'm just here.
I'm hanging out.
I'm going to get into it because there's like an unskippable 1-minute cutscene to start the game. It's the only cutscene in the game that's like not skippable. So I'll explain stuff during that. So we're just going to go right in here, select easy mode and new game, not new game plus. And if we're ready, I can do a countdown. Okay, 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, so in this brief 1-minute cutscene, I'll explain some stuff about the game. Some of you may have seen this game run before. I believe it might have been on an online GDQ, might have been a hotfix. Since then, the game has received a major update. This run is on the latest version. It's above 2.0, which is the big differentiator. 2.0 patched out a major glitch, but kept in every other glitch. And so the game has been a little less played lately, but community recently made a resurgence, so I've been running it. I love this game. It's great. We're going to be getting into the movement in a second here, and for the first 10 minutes of the game, I'm going to be mashing the B button, and that's going to be it pretty much. I'm just going to be spamming roll. Well, not completely spamming it, because that would make my wrist really hurt, but thankfully, it's not for long. There's going to be a lot of out of bounds, a lot of sequence breaks, and a lot of things for me to probably explain. But for now, we're just going to get into it. And while I'm rolling, I'm just going to say, this game is like one of like the best games I've seen like graphically, and this is running on the Ultra right now. These computers are awesome. I'm glad I get to show it as best. So we're going to go up to this wall and load an autosave that will put us on the other side of the wall. Don't ask, it's just there. We get to skip a puzzle.
All right.
And go right into this cutscene. It's a very small puzzle. I don't know why it lets you do that. I'm not gonna complain.
It's such an easy skip.
Yeah. So we're gonna go into the combat real quick. I'm on easy mode, so it's not gonna really be apparent, but technically this is a Souls-like in terms of like action gameplay, or like has like parries like on the hard difficulties. Like you really need to be careful and dodge, and you can't afford to get hit at all. But this is easy mode. The enemies just look at me and do nothing. So we don't need to worry about that. So I'm doing something where I lock onto enemies, which makes my attacks dash to them. So it's just easier to get to them. And we're gonna run around, and the main like kind of like button that's like used all the time in this game is the left bumper. And that's the pulse that I'm doing right here. It just activates like all the puzzles in the game. So I'm just gonna be using it pretty much all the time. It also is the button you can press to shield and later dash. We're gonna do another autosave load here because it just puts us forward. So now we're all the way over here. There's not that many autosave loads. There's like 4. They're mostly in the beginning because it's faster to load them. But later we're gonna get some really great movement.
This one gets absolutely ridiculous.
Well, it's about to get ridiculous because we're about to go out of bounds. Spoilers, I'm sorry. So I'll explain briefly. The major glitch that got patched out in 2.0 was roll in air. But thankfully, roll launching is still in the game, so we're just gonna do that. And now we've gotten some height and we're out of bounds. And I'm gonna do some movement here.
The launching looks so funny. I love it.
Yeah, she just flies. And then we're gonna go into this corner and we're gonna do another roll. And up we go, and now we're truly out of bounds. So
I need to add like the sonic spring sound effect.
Yeah, exactly. Another thing I did there is something you're gonna be seeing a lot. I'm gonna be at like ledges. I'm gonna be pulsing and then running, and then you're gonna be seeing me like do my run animation in mid-air. Whoops. And basically, it lets her play out her run animation, like the startup of the run animation mid-air, and then you can do a grounded jump mid-air, just to get some distance. That's a rot. These are like the little collectible guys and like progression. We have to get these first 5 to unlock our basic abilities, so I'm doing that now. We technically skipped the very first one, the small guy, the little guy, is like the mascot. We skipped getting him, he's just here now. We're gonna drop down here to hit an autosave point for later, so we can have our location updated. And we're gonna keep grabbing rods. So basically, these guys, I wouldn't say they're quite upgrades. They're upgrades for like your maximum amount of like power, but not like the currency you use to get upgrades itself. Like it says 3 out of 5, and then based on how many tiers you have, it's a different amount to get to the next tier, which lets you use specific raw actions. These are like the other things besides the pulse. That's like the main gameplay mechanic. I'm gonna try doing the pulse run. I'm really bad at like this tech, which is bad because it's like the most basic tech in the game, and I'm way better at the hard tech, but we got it. So we just skip a puzzle there, get over here, get the last rot. And after this little cutscene plays, I'm gonna instantly load the autosave, and it's gonna take me to that area I dropped down into. So even though it still makes an autosave, there are certain autosaves that update your positions and other ones don't. So here's like a little corruption thing, but we're just gonna ignore it by damage boosting. And a fun thing about damage boosting on those little barriers is for some reason, it gives you 2 double jumps when you do that. So you can do 1 double jump with an animation, and you can just jump again and there's no animation, and it's consistent completely for those damage boosts. We do like 2 of those. We're just skipping a lot of like combat encounters, like there's one down there as well, but instead of going to that, I'm gonna go over here, and I'm gonna roll on the edge here, and I'm gonna jump and do a roll boost. And then we're just gonna roll in midair, the collision. Don't worry about this. I said roll and arrow was patched, it is, there's just collision up there. So, another thing that getting the 5 rot unlocked was the left trigger, which is our aim button. We don't have a bow yet, but the aim button's used for some other stuff, but if you don't have a bow and you jump up the aim button, you jump higher, because why not? So we just use that to get up there. You just do a jump, and you press the aim button, and you go a little bit higher, and it allows a lot of fun skips.
Yeah, you're gonna see that all over the place.
We're gonna fight like the first technically mini boss, but it's story mode, and we're also gonna like glitch this so he's frozen for the first few hits. So we're just gonna do this, and because I got the rods, I can use them to stun the enemy and do some damage. I did miss a hit, but it's fine, it's story mode, so I'm just gonna kill him real quick. And then these like corruption bulbs are like the main obstacle in the game where you're supposed to send the rot to them when there's no enemies around, and then pulse to get rid of it. This is like the only one we do in the entire run, because you just skip it all. Here's Benny and Saya. They want us to help their brother. We're not helping their brother. He will never be saved. The like kind of basic plot of Kena is that you're like a spirit guide supposed to save spirits that can't move on. We're only saving like 1 spirit. There's like a Breath of the Wild style like overview cutscene here, and if you do backflips, you can skip it. It's one of the only unskippable cutscenes in the game, but if you just do that, it would like make you walk out and like look over the world, and there's a way to skip it without the slow backflips, but it's really difficult because you have to alternate rolls and post runs, and it's just so much easier to do the backflips.
I wish that worked in real life. Just backflip to not have to talk to people.
Yeah, exactly. So we're gonna do a post run here to hopefully get in here. I kind of got launched to the side there. We're gonna try to get out of bounds. That looks good. And we're gonna do a roll boost and rocking in midair, and gonna jump up here. Use that handy dandy aim jump, and we're just gonna like go around the village because we don't want to do combat encounters. I kind of forgot to do a jump, so I'm gonna do it back up here. I was not paying attention,
Yeah,
but we're fine. Just use the good old aim jump. We actually wait to get the bow until the end of the game, just like because it's not needed for most of the bosses, and also like there's some movement that requires that aim jump, so it's just good to have. Do a small thing here to get up here, and then do a big roll launch, get over this barrier. And then we're gonna do another pulse run to like use our coyote time to do a mid-air jump. That was not it, we're dead. It's fine, it respawns us right here, thankfully. Most of the time the game will like properly update your location. There we go, we're fine. So there are some times where you die and it will send you way back if it hasn't found a suitable location. We're gonna ignore these enemies and unlock this fast travel point. Another reason why we do that little bit of movement to go around is to unlock this fast travel point for later. It's one of 2 that we use throughout the run. Now, I'm gonna do a bit of a slower variation to get past this wall here. There's a faster way that involves using a trick that works once per game launch, which is why I'm not using it. It is faster, and it is consistent. You just have to restart your game. Oh, thank you, Kena. You just have to restart your game every time you want to do a run, and it's just, I don't vibe with that. So we're just gonna jump on top of this house. The collision is a little finicky, but it will eventually let us right here. And then we can get past this little barrier, and I'm dead. Bungled. It's fine. We have a generous estimate. It spawns us here as well. That's another benefit of doing the house method instead of the other one. Your respawn location is closer.
Oh, that's good.
So while I'm here, a big mainstay of 2.0 and below runs was the roll and air glitch to get past this instead. And you would go around more towards the right, and there's like this giant, we're trying to get to like basically the final area of the game right now. There's a giant wall over there that we have to bypass, and normally we would come over here in pre 2.0 and we go to the left here and do roll and air to get around the bridge. But now we have to do some old movement, which is pretty cool. That's probably not making it.
Yeah, not quite.
I don't know why I'm not good at the most essential trick of the game, but I'm good at the funny stuff. Probably have to back up a little bit more. That's fine. This is the last one of these that we like have to do, really. So, that looks good. Okay. So we're just gonna get up here, and we're very sequence broken right now. There's going to be some enemies we've never seen before, but we're just going to continue to not see them. And we're just going to pretend we do not see it. You don't see it. Exactly. Thank you. There's a very finicky jump here. We have to get on some like invisible like little ledge. There we go. I got it. Thank you. And then we're out of bounds. And basically we did all of that to get behind this big invisible wall that's back here. And if anybody has played Kena before, you may recognize that we are kind of in the final area of the game. Don't worry, there's still like 30 minutes left. Or 20 rather. We can't quite skip to the final boss in this category, which I kind of forgot to mention. This is like kind of, I don't want to say unrestricted. This is like all glitches allowed except for a variation of a very broken glitch I'll be doing soon, which I'll explain when I get to it. But this is basically the unrestricted that people actually like running that's not 5 minutes long. So we're gonna get this mask and we're just gonna skip through it. We're gonna talk to an invisible NPC because he's not loaded properly. But basically, this is where you would go after you do all the areas of the game. And then you get a really good movement ability, dash. And they want you to go to all of the previous areas of the game and dash through these purple gateways. We're not gonna do that at all except for once. So that's the dash ability that we unlocked. It's very good. It's obviously the best movement in the game. We do actually have to do this one. We don't have to do this one more time, but it's faster, so I'm gonna do it. And it's okay. So we're gonna use.
It looked good. I'm surprised.
It did. It's just gonna be finicky. So we're gonna use the dash instead. And another thing, just like the pulse run is, if you jump early enough after a dash off a ledge, you can get a mid-air grounded jump that lets you double jump. So that just makes that easier. So we're gonna come back around here one more time, and we're gonna just keep using the dash in between rolls. Now, I accidentally hit an enemy, that's fine. Now the thing about the dash, you can see the meter in the bottom left corner of the screen is currently blinking red. That means I'm out of dash. And when you're out of dash, it takes a few seconds to refill after a little bit. And we actually want it to be refilling because you can dash more often because the refill when you're out of dash is faster than the normal refill, if that makes sense. Like if you just do one dash and then you try to wait for the dash to come back, it's really slow. But if you expend all of your dash meter, it'll come back faster. We're gonna do the biggest glitch in the game right now, which is called a hyper dash. I'm just gonna do it and I'll explain it after. I'm gonna line myself up. There we go. And we're gonna pause to make it reload and land on this rock. And we're gonna hopefully hit a bit of a damage thing here. If not, it's fine. We'll eventually void out. We're gonna void out and it'll spawn us on the rock. So that was a hyper dash. It's activated by dashing off of a ledge and then opening photo mode and then canceling it, as far as my understanding of it goes. And basically, what I was mentioning earlier, for like the biggest trick in the game that's like for unrestricted that makes the game really fast, it's called a voidless hyper dash. If you go like upwards during a hyper dash, you'll never void out, ever. And so you can just get dash and go to the final boss immediately, and it makes for a pretty uninteresting run. So most people don't run that. That's the only trick that's banned in this category. Otherwise, we just call it like 90% voidless, pretty much. So there's so much going on so fast. I'm sorry, were you trying to say something?
Well, I was gonna say that trick also puts you in like a weird state where you have to either void out or get hit.
Yeah, you have to void out or get hit. Sometimes it can result in some wacky shenanigans, or you can load an autosave. So we're gonna do the first, like, this is like the third to last boss normally, and we're doing it as our first boss. So we're gonna dash to him real quick. He's the Mask Maker. He always does attack first, and we want him to jump back, and then we're gonna try to chain heavy attacks to make him stagger. This can be very RNG, that's not good. And my game, because I was locked onto him, it likes to be a little jank. So we want him to not do one very specific attack, which, wow, this happened twice. This happened for the first time in practice.
You said it,
I can't do, I'm so sequence broken, I can't do anything. This is really bad RNG. I just have to take the hit, which means I get time to explain.
The comedic timing of that was
Yeah, I know. The fact that he did it that fast is kind of ridiculous. It was like a second attack. I don't have the bow or like anything unlocked. I just can't do anything there. So normally you're supposed to get like a stun lock in on him, but it's entirely dependent on his RNG for what attack he wants to do. He's teleporting again. He's gonna do the chain teleports. Okay.
This guy hates you.
This is what happens when you do a marathon run. Yeah. You know? You'll get the worst possible RNG on the easiest boss.
Pro tip, don't do marathon runs. Wait, no.
No, do marathon runs. Yeah. It's awesome. Okay, we're just gonna get the quick kill here. Train of thought exploded. So as I was trying to explain earlier, when we got dash, they want us to go back to areas we've already gone to and get to them in a different way with dash. I mean, I suppose we are getting to them in a different way with dash. It's just definitely not the intended way. So this is kind of like, oh no. Okay, we're fine.
Same.
This is kind of like the area, not the area, it's like the area to the side of where you would unlock bombs. We're not gonna unlock bombs ever. And we're just like skipping through it right here. There's an enemy there, don't care. Just gonna keep dashing. And we're gonna go over to the next one, Warrior, which is over here. And we've skipped like basically any sort of exploration or unlocking or doing any of the major like first 3 bosses. I accidentally ran out of dash there, but that's it's fine. I need to remember to get this upgrade anyways for the next boss. We're gonna line up for another hyper dash right here, a bit to the right. And this one, technically, it might, if it was bad, it might go voidless. And technically, this one was slow, so that might have been a voidless. It's whatever, it's fine. The intent was fine. So we're gonna do another hyper dash. Straight to the boss. We're gonna try to hit an autosave, like I was mentioning earlier. This one's a little slow, but I think we should be hitting it after the void out. It was right there. I'm gonna check the saves. There it is, Warrior Path. So now we can just load right over to here. Don't have to do any of the puzzles or anything. We also skip any sort of like invisible walls before they even spawn in the intended path. We're gonna ring this gong. This boss, we just unlocked a new ability called Rot Hammer that enhances our heavy attacks when we have enough rot built up. You wanna get double hits on Warrior, but it can be very finicky. So I'm gonna skip the cutscene as fast as possible. He's gonna drop in. So the reason why the bosses kind of look weird sometimes with where they spawn is because there's an accessibility option to make it so you can skip cutscenes faster. And some of them skip so fast before like enemies even load in, so they just kind of drop in. But that also means sometimes of some bosses, enemies will load in before you gain control. And in some cases that's better, like depending on like what you want the RNG to do. This is going really well. Like in this one I do it intentionally because I know he'll always back. That makes up for the mask maker fight. That was very good.
Ridiculous.
So we're gonna go to that fast travel point I unlocked earlier. And I'm gonna use the mouse for that, for navigating the map because it's much faster than using the controller. We're gonna go here, I'm gonna use the mouse, and we're gonna go right over to oh, the controller glitch, awesome.
Oh no.
Okay, we're using the controller. That's been happening lately with my new controller. But now we can't go do the last boss. We have to go unlock Bo because the second last boss rather, like the last like non-end boss requires Bo. And the end game, the final boss also requires the Bo. So we're gonna go over here and do actually some movement for once. Besides hyper dashing. We're gonna actually go play some of the game. This is where you would normally go when you start the game. You would go to this forest and you would unlock the bow and you go to Rusu's mountain. We're gonna do like the hardest damage boost in the game here. It's very annoying and I don't like it. But we're fine.
Hey,
it didn't take that long.
Nice.
So that's another damage boost that's only possible because you get 2 double jumps for some reason. This one's easy. But you would normally go this way and you would try to save the kid's brother, Taro. You would do all this forest. And then, as you've been maybe seeing, I don't even have time to explain that. We gotta do this hyper dash. This hyper dash is different than the others because it's not trying to get us somewhere. It's trying to abuse, I might have to do it again. It's trying to abuse the fact that when you hyper dash in 2.0 and above, you deload certain stuff. It doesn't look like the deloaded there. So we're trying to deload this combat arena and other stuff behind us. I was a little bit too far to the left there. I'll line it up again. So we want to bounce off this tree and just go to the... No, that's too far to the right because I don't bounce off the tree. That's fine. It's fast. You spawn right here. It is important and it looks funny. It's also the only like deload strat we really do have implemented in 2.0 because that's something that changed. That's it. That's something that changed between 2.0 and 1.0 is how terrain deloads on hyper dashes. So now these enemies don't even exist and you're gonna notice some funky graphics. Look at this, just like a square. And then walls that just aren't here anymore. So they just don't exist now. Oh, I got that. Awesome. So this entire section, there would normally be like a cutscene. You would normally have to do like roll boosts to pass it. Just all of this isn't loaded in correctly right now. So which means we can just go right past this. There is an issue of like the terrain not existing past a certain point, but that's okay. We have a way past that. Wait for my dash to come back. There we go. So you may be able to see there's a checkpoint over there. So what do we do to get to that? We just hyper dash and we bounce off it and load.
Bonk our head on it.
Bonk our head on it and load the autosave. And when you load saves, the terrain is back. So I don't remember. I think I was gonna try to explain some story thing before that. There's just not enough time in everything that's happening. But
it's not important.
From those 2 bosses we defeated, you may have noticed we got a relic afterwards, and that's how you're normally supposed to do that for every area. You're supposed to find like 3 relics to save the spirit's like soul, and you would normally do that in here as well. But we only need to do it for the final boss. We don't. According to the speedrun, his soul is the only one that matters. But we're gonna get over here. That was good. I'm coming up to my least favorite trick of the game. Untextured rock. So
you know.
If you know, you know. People who watch my stream know. So this is like what I would call the most difficult hyper dash in the game. It also has one of the funniest roll boosts because you go all the way up here and out of bounds. So what we're doing here is we're skipping an entire like platforming area, like a bridge, a boss, and like a puzzle. It's called Kappa Skip because the boss is called Kappa. And this is untextured rock. I hate it.
The untextured rock of legend.
It's hard to jump up, and there we go. And the hyper dash after it is a pain. Or not hyper dash, just the dash. So I want to get like this grounded jump and go high enough up. I didn't get high enough up there, so you just slide down. And this isn't even technically the hard part of it. Although this is the part that messes me up the most when I was first learning it. Get a little bit higher up, more angled that way.
That looks like your stream titles when you were like learning this game.
Yeah, it was like the fight against the untextured rock.
You versus untextured rock.
Yeah, but this part's harder. This hyper dash is probably the hardest hyper dash in the game because if we mess it up, the terrain will load on top of us and we'll have to reload our save and go back. This is why the estimate is high. That looks like a good speed hyper dash, and we are angled just barely correctly.
Oh wow!
Just barely.
That was so close.
So it's not over yet. We need to void out to have the terrain reload, or not reload, to give us control. And there's 3 ways the terrain can reload. One is really bad, one is really good. This is the best one. So that's great. The other one is not impossible, it's just annoying. This is the best possible outcome of that hyper dash, assuming I can stop getting stuck.
Huh?
It's okay, we'll just jump up here. I do want to make sure I don't die here. Kana, stop sliding. Out of bounds terrain. So I'm gonna play it like a little safe. So I'm gonna make sure I jump, because if you fall too far, there is fall damage that instantly kills you. But there we go, that's Kappa Skip done. We're right behind it. This is the elevator. We skipped like the entire mandatory lead up to getting the bow. Thank goodness that went well, first try.
That entire sequence. Always just
by the way, when we get past this elevator, you'll see.
Okay.
We did deload all the terrain. It's fine though. We can load the autosave and we're good.
The void awaits.
Everything's back. Because we did get that method of the deload, there's 2 different methods that can happen. One of them deloads the cutscene trigger that's up here. This one, there is a skip we can do for the cutscene. It doesn't save that much time, but I'm gonna go for it. It starts with a roll and then you do some dashes. No, you need to be like really precise because otherwise you get this cutscene. It only skips this little build up. That's it, and like 1 tutorial pop-up. So it's like 5 to 10 seconds maybe. So it's not the end of the world. It skips this tutorial pop-up and the little build-up before it. But now that we've got bow, we can go back to killing bosses way before we're supposed to. And so we're gonna go to the archer next. Or, yeah. I don't know why I can't remember. It's gonna say when we go into. This is also the only purple gateway we actually go into. But it might as well not be because we're gonna skip all of it once we're inside of it. Hunter, that's the name, it's the Hunter path. These are like the purple gates that I said, like normally for Mask Maker and for Warrior, you would have to do their own little sections of the purple gate and do like their little puzzles. Right now, what I'm jumping on top of, these are terrain that needs bombs to be activated. We don't have bombs. We're not gonna get bombs, so we're just doing it like this. And another thing to note, you may notice I'm not doing the aim jumps anymore. Whoops. Once you unlock the bow, you can't aim jump anymore because it puts you into like a bullet time, which slows the game down and you don't get height anymore. So that tech is now off the table. This jump's really annoying. You have like a little bit of collision to stand on. You can dash to it. I find pulse running easier. So I'm gonna keep doing that, and then you need to, wow, fun. But that's fine. We're just trying to get out of bounds so we can dodge all of this stuff we want to do. I'm gonna do the dash. I just had a bad dash last time. I do untextured rock first try, but this stops me.
Yeah.
It's always something. That's fine. This is why the estimate is like this, because the game is finicky. That looks good.
It's textured rock this time.
Yeah, that,
really,
I got on it.
It really is textured rock.
I got on it, and I didn't get the jump after because I double jumped too early. It's so over. That should be it. Now we jump to the right and we spam roll and we're out of bounds. Thank goodness. Okay. That's not that hard. The game can just be a little annoying sometimes.
I mean, this platforming looks real strange sometimes.
Yeah, because the collision is not accurate.
Yeah.
As you saw, like, where am I standing?
The collision is not what the model says sometimes.
Okay, now we get to see me be really bad at using the bow on controller because there's like auto aim and it's like really intrusive and we don't want to go all the way to hit those, so I try to hit it from all the way over here. And it's way easier on mouse. We're still back. Okay. That can be really annoying sometimes just because aiming on controller is harder. So there we go. That's like one of the things that bow is mandatory for, also this fight and also the final boss. So I mentioned that you can skip cutscenes faster with the accessibility option. We're actually going to intentionally not do that for here because we want to be actionable as soon as possible. So I'm going to hold A to skip and I'm going to try to shoot her right away. Nice. So that brings her down so we can hit her right away. I'm going to jump back, do a rot hammer from here so it hits twice. You see it was a big chunk of her health bar. I don't mind getting hit. And now her attacks RNG from here. She's teleporting. And I like to try and parry that attack. It's not easy. That just gives you an extra hit if you do. So wait for it to attack. There we go. Out of all the bosses, this is the only one I've ever died to on easy mode. Just out of greed of wanting to get like parries and stuff. So she likes to just run around a lot. If you aim your bow at her, she'll just like move. That attack I can never react to. Wouldn't it be awesome if I died to this boss?
I was gonna say, you're looking low on health.
I'm looking pretty low on health. Okay, it's fine. We win.
Okay, good.
Yeah, it's fine. I've only ever died because I'm greedy there. There's a glitch that's gonna happen here if you teleport too early, so I'm just gonna wait for the pop-up. This is the only relic pop-up you can skip. But sometimes if you do it, if you don't wait long enough, you won't get your rot upgrade. Because we have technically been gathering rot by defeating the bosses. And we do need this rot upgrade to like beat the game as fast as possible.
That boss fight went better than it did in practice. She was teleporting around and breaking your ankles during practice.
It was not good. Here's Toshi, the second, or Corrupt Toshi, the second to last boss. We just got all of his relics, so now we can fight him. There is a way to one-cycle him. It's not super consistent. You need to stagger your damage in a certain way. So I'm gonna use my 2 rot hammers here to try and get double hits. And we don't want him to teleport. He's teleporting. Okay. I think you want to do that closer. It doesn't really matter because it's really fast just to shoot him down and just go finish him off.
These bosses like doing things right as you say. You don't want
them. You don't want them to, yeah, exactly.
At
the very least, on easy mode, bosses just like to stand there and do nothing.
They're like
he dashed back.
They're like a 3-year-old that like hears you and then just immediately does the thing that you told them not to do.
So normally with these like major bosses, you have to use your pulse on them to end the fight. I'm gonna make sure I get this upgrade. That is useful in the final boss. And we're gonna go into the final boss area now. And we're gonna do the second to last hyper dash. Make sure I have enough dash going through here. So we're gonna line up right here, I believe. Not I believe, I know. I practiced, I swear. Okay, that one might be a little slow. We need it to be fast. No, that might work. So if it works, we're gonna, yes, it worked. So now she's gonna walk on her own, and we're gonna warp right to the final boss fight instead of doing a bunch of movement. It's not that much, but it's like, it's like 30 seconds. Save some movement. So here's Corrupt Rock God. In these first 2 phases, we need to shoot 3 of these little things pulsing on him, and we get taken to like a separate area. This right here, this phase 1 fight is probably my favorite part of the game. Just like, this is where like an example of where Kana really shines in its storytelling, just like with the dynamic music and these fights.
Yeah,
especially when we get to the next fight.
The overall presentation of this game is amazing between the graphics and the music and the overall atmosphere. It's phenomenal.
And I really enjoy that. Dash didn't hit anybody. I really enjoy this overall segment, the music, and just the fights as well, as they break my ankles on story mode. Get back here. Okay, whatever. This next one where the music really, you'll notice, you'll be able to tell once you hear it. And also, that Sprout Knight, one of like the first mini boss we were supposed to fight that we just completely skipped. He can be a little annoying. You want to hit his yellow weak points, and also try to parry. Nope, I'm not good at Souls-likes. I have been getting that recently in runs though. I'm just gonna dodge. The thing about his other weak points is they're on the back of him. He doesn't have that much health, so it's fine. I don't even need to hit them. He's dead. Okay. I didn't get any parries, but it was still fast, so I don't mind. So now, the thing about this fight is we got our rot taken away, so when we do this, we're gonna get our rot back. And the reason why I got that upgrade that I quickly got is because it will let us immediately use a raw action at the start of a battle. And because we're about to skip a phase, spoilers, we're only gonna have 1 out of 2 of our raw orbs, and we need 1 in order to damage the final boss at all in the final phase. There we go. Oh, okay, that was good. So we're coming up to a section, a platforming section, that requires bombs, normally at least. So we do have 1 more hyper dash to do. That's really cool. Doesn't really have that much of a consistent setup. I like to line my left screen up with that tree. And we're gonna hyper dash to the arena we just fought in. Oh, well, that probably would have invalidated the run, but that's okay, it's a marathon. So now we're back here, and we're stuck, but these bats have the only attack in the game that I'm aware of that can break us out of the hyper dash state. And when we go back through it, it thinks we finished phase 2 normally. So now we get to do phase 3, and that skips having bombs, and here's why we need the rot, is to damage him like this. I'm gonna try to do a trick shot. Aw. Oh, I got it! Yeah! It doesn't do anything, it just looks cool. So we had to do that 3 times, not the trick shot, the part before it. We had to do that 3 times on the for the final hits. And time isn't right after he's dead. There are like a cutscene we have to watch, and time will be like after that.
Yeah, time is like roughly a minute after this boss dies.
I would say so. That was not a charge shot. You don't like have to kill these guys. I think the boss might jump down a little bit faster if you kill them. I still hear one. Ah, there he is. He's on the ground. But he'll eventually jump down on his own and the music will change. Again, the presentation on this fight is like phenomenal. I love the dynamic music. He's gonna instantly show his weak spot right here. And yeah! So now we have some mandatory cycles to go through. Starting with the laser, I think, is good. It's like RNG. He has like 3 attacks, I think, around 3 or 4 attacks before he shows his weak spot. Again, I don't have to do anything. I'm just gonna just like sit here and look at him.
You were mentioning during practice, you'd think he like always does that laser.
He does the laser no matter what, like at least once during it. I don't know if him doing it earlier is like faster or not. We'll see. If he shows his weak point right now, that would be like, no, he's doing, I think it's like the 4th attack, and he should like back up, show his last weak point, which I intentionally left on the right because we're gonna need to get there after. Almost bungled that. Yeah, 3 for 3 trick shots.
All of them.
We're
Wow.
so back. We're gonna pop this raw orb.
Literally not faster, just swag points.
Yeah, exactly.
All that is.
It doesn't make it slower. There's nothing else to do.
Yeah.
So we have an unskippable cutscene right here. Normally, after you beat these major bosses, you have this cutscene with the boss you just beat, where you help their spirit move on, and we get to skip that part of it. We don't get to skip the little walk up, unfortunately. But I mean, we get to see all the little rots. It's fine. It's cute. So we're just gonna dash. I don't know why they give you movement in here. We're just gonna dash straight to Toshi and press the Y button and get it over with. And just like that, he's saved. So time's coming up like very soon. As soon as I get to the final meditation spot, mechanic not even using 90%. That usually increases your max health. And it will just be done. This segment, this little area just exists for this like little set piece. And as soon as I press the final input right here at a sec on top of this hill, it's time. And time. Yeah. That was pretty good.
Yeah,
All the credits.
that was really solid.
32, that's fine. I don't remember what I did like not so good. I fell in the water a lot. That's probably why. That's fine, it's well under estimate.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you completely destroyed your estimate.
Non-stop yapping, just too many tricks like to explain. I probably missed something. Quick shout out to the Kena community as a whole. Like recently, like I said at the start of the run, there's been a little bit of a resurgence. Grove Aether, Rin Rin Telephone are like the 2 names that I know. There's like some new runners that I haven't memorized the names yet. Because like I said, for a while, the boards were just completely dead when 2.0 came out. People were doing New Game Plus, but nobody wanted to compete in New Game because the times were impossible to beat. Not that most people would be able to beat him, because Insert Logic had record in every single category and he's really good at the game. But we recently moved over all of the pre-2.0 times to a legacy board, so people can compete again for the leaderboard on 2.0 and above. So if you want to learn Kena, now's a great time. The leaderboards are pretty fresh. There's a few different categories. And there are active community members, again, willing to help you.
I mean, when you started relearning this game, you were like the only person.
I was the only person,
there,
and then like a week later, Grove came back. It was like a complete coincidence.
And now it's here, and now hopefully more people can get into it.
Yeah, I love this game.
It's really cool. It looks really cool.
It's on like on everything. It's on Steam. It's on. Well, I hear the console versions are actually behind in version, but it is on Xbox and PS5 and PS4. I highly recommend it, and I highly recommend you don't skip all the story like I just did, because
I mean, we were talking about the presentation of this game.
yeah, like even when we were skipping the story, like the visual presentation and just the way it does everything is very, very. It just looks great.
Yeah.
I'm glad we were able. I briefly mentioned it. This computer is good enough to run it on Ultra, so I'm glad I got to show it at its best. That's all I have.
Plug your
What? My what?
Twitch channel.
My Twitch channel? Maybe. I don't. You know what? Yeah,
do it anyway.
Yeah, twitch.tv/Kobazco. Catch me streaming and speedrunning Spore Hero for the Nintendo Wii.
Yeah.
There you go. Or Chibi Robo Lockout Bingo. Let's go bingo. Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
Also, here, Monday, 11:30, I'm running Monkey Ball. So
Yeah.
don't miss
Super
that.
Monkey Ball. The arcade cabinet's in another room, right?
They have the arcade
Yeah, of
cabinet
course.
here.
No.
I'm not running the arcade cabinet.
Also follow me on Twitter. Kobazco's the same. I don't know much else. I think I remembered everything. Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you for being on. All right, everyone, that was Kobazco and Helix on commentary, who is actually one of the hosts of Parallel Universe here on GDQ Hotfix. And we are going to be getting ready for our next run here. It's going to be Crash 4, so stay tuned for that. And, you know, as I mentioned, Helix was a showrunner. I do want to remind everyone that Games Done Quick is hiring. So if you are interested in hosting a speedrunning show, you know, we have some showrunner spots open. We have some committee spots open for mainline events as well. And then we also have a Hotfix manager role open. So be sure to go to gamesdonequick.com/jobs for more info on that. And yeah, we're going to be back in a couple minutes with Crash 4.